Hey guys, welcome back to How to Build a Home Part 3. We are here in Madera again in Cibolo Canyons on the golf course, guys. You got to come out and check this place out. It is absolutely one of a kind. Well, here in Part 3, actually, I guess it's really going to be like 3.5, not quite 4, because we're going to discuss some other things in there. What we're going to talk about is framing and basically what that makes the home look like a home going forward. We've already discussed engineering and we've discussed slab, pre-pour and post-pour and what that looks like. So now we're going to go in this house here and we're going to discuss framing. By the way, this is a prototype called an Axton. No one has seen this house before. You are getting a sneak peek preview of this home. So stay tuned. We're going to go check it out. Undoubtedly, one of the most important things of the home outside of the foundation is going to be the framing and the structural integrity of your frame for your home. It's what holds it up. You have the foundation you stand on that holds up the frame, and the frame pretty much holds everything else up. Your roof, your walls, your sheetrock, your insulation. I mean, it's what encapsulates the memories that you make inside this home. So it's super important that we get this part right as well. We also engineer all these frames. So after we have them drawn up, they're sent out to engineers and they are designed specifically for load-bearing walls, how the spacing between studs and whether that should be a 2x4 or 2x6, the nail patterns on certain walls and all that kind of stuff. Chesmar Homes also takes one more step. Now, most builders will use a sheathing on the outside of their home that's called T-ply. And if you've driven through homes under construction or neighborhoods that are under construction with a lot of builders in there, you're going to see something that looks like this. Okay? This is called T-ply. It is basically just a pressed piece of cardboard, as you can see here. Not a lot to it. And they literally just staple that onto the side of the home. Not nailed, but stapled. And then just your masonry goes up on the other side and the insulation goes up on the other side of that. And that is pretty much all that protects you from the outside elements. At Chesmar, we said, no, that's not good enough for us. So we use something called the ZIP system here. The ZIP system is a 7/16 pressure treated OSB. That pressure treated OSB also has this green stuff on the outside that's kind of like a spray on bed liner to a pickup truck. And what that does is that gives you 100% moisture barrier and air barrier against going into the home. You see this tape on the outside here. What this tape is, this seals all the seams between two boards. That way you never get penetration of any kind of air or moisture into the home. And after one good Texas summer, that stuff just melts into this really nice gooey goo that completely seals off those two boards. This ZIP system, what it also does is it gives a structural rigidness to the whole frame as well. When you encapsulate the whole frame of the home, all your exterior walls in this board, that just gives that much more stability and strength to the frame overall versus that beautiful T-ply down there. So anyways, let's go inside and check it out. All right, so now we're standing inside the frame of the Axton. Again, this is a prototype home. No one has seen this house before. You are the first, so enjoy. And when I put this thing on the market, you know it's gonna go pretty quick. It has a side patio, oh my gosh, and a back patio. No other home has that here in this neighborhood. Anyways, guys, so let's talk about terminology. You hear frames, you hear 2x4s and studs and decking, and what is all of that? What does that mean? Well, we talked about the stuff on the outside of the home where you saw this ZIP system. This is the back side of it. That was an exterior sheathing. Now that we're inside, what are the terms? Well, we have walls here, and these walls go up and down. This is what holds your sheetrock up. These walls going up and down with these studs. These are studs. It's basically a 2x4 or a 2x6, whatever the engineer calls out for, and that runs from basically the ceiling to the floor, and we screw our sheetrock to that. It might hold your insulation as well. And then you see kind of in some places you see boards running this way in between two studs. That's called blocking. Blocking is there for a couple purposes. Sometimes in this case, in the kitchen, it's there for the cabinets to be screwed to give something other than sheetrock for those cabinets to screw and hold to. Sometimes blocking is a fire blocking that you'll find in some columns and areas. And then sometimes it's on short walls. You'll see blocking like this on a wall that just ends right here to give a little more strength to it. But you may not always see blocking on just a normal wall like you see here behind me here. See, no blocking here because it's not needed. All we're doing here is just holding up sheetrock. Now, so we've talked about studs, exterior sheathing, blocking. Let's move on up a little bit. This above me, all this system that you see going on up here, that's a highly engineered and designed, almost like if you've been to a old railroad train track bridge where it has all that going on above it and the tracks down below. That's called a truss system. Trusses are engineered and designed by engineers, not Bubba in the field slapping a bunch of boards together. They are attached with gusset plates in a facility, so it is done on a laser grid pattern where it's done just exact. They're using lasers to put this stuff together to make it perfect per this plan design. Above that, you see this silver stuff up here. Looks kind of like tinfoil. Well, that's because it kind of is. That is a TechShield roof deck. What that does is that's also known as radiant barrier. So when the sun puts down rays, it reflects those UV rays back up and out of the home, keeping your attic cooler, about 20% cooler overall. And the whole idea of that is, if you ever been to the beach on a cloudy day and you still got sunburned, you're like, but I was in the shade. How did I get sunburned? That's because the UV rays still made it through and got you. Same thing can happen here. The UV rays can penetrate a certain amount of wood and come on into the attic and start to superheat that attic up, causing the rest of your home to be warmer as well, making your AC happen to work harder to keep it cooler. So that radiant barrier roof decking, or TechShield, what that does is that keeps the UV rays out, keeps that attic about 20% cooler underneath that beautiful dimensional shingle that we put on there. So coming on down, you see this board that runs this way at the bottom, and it's green. It's not green just so it matches the zip board on the outside. This is actually a pressure treated piece of wood, and it lays flat against the concrete. So when that lays flat against the concrete, we had previously talked about concrete being porous and potentially getting moisture and wick. You ever walked into a garage and seen the floor sweating and stuff because concrete can be cool to the touch? Well, this board here is treated, so if that concrete ever does become wet in any way, shape, form, or fashion, that lumber will not wick that moisture up into it and will not allow it to go bad. So other than that, guys, you see some of the strapping going on up here that goes around the corners that keeps all this rigid and solid. And then you probably notice a bunch of writing on the walls all around me in here. What that is, that's my builder taking notes as he walks this home every single day. He's checking for imperfection. He's checking for anything out of square or out of line or needs to be corrected before we move to that next stage, which we're in stage 4 right now, putting in the mechanicals, the electrical, and the HVAC. You see that up there. So before we go to each stage, we check the stage we're in before we get a green card or a green light to go to the next stage. So it's just kind of a self-check, and we also have independent inspections that happen on these homes as well, because you might write a paper and you proofread your paper 100 times. You're like, it's perfect. But as soon as you gave it to your teacher, your professor, your spouse, your friend, and they read it, within 5 minutes, the first paragraph, like, hey, comma, you forgot right there, right in your face. You just didn't see it. Can't see the forest for the trees sometimes, so that's why we have these people come out and check our work, guys. Hey, that pretty much concludes our frame walk right now. We'll go into more detail about some of these things later, but I just wanted to give you a quickie of how this works and how the structural integrity of a frame works, and kind of some of the verbiage of what you hear thrown out there as you're having a home being built. I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. Feel free to give a shout out or text me, call me anytime that you need to. You can also text Madera to 797979 for more information about Madera here in Cibolo Canyons on the golf course. Guys, we're down to less than 50 lots left in this neighborhood to be able to live on a TPC PGA Touring golf course. Hey, have a great day. Stay coronavirus free. And Carol Baskin, not a good person. Just saying. Bye.